From growing up in St. Louis and shadowing another star NBA player to becoming one of the most electric and promising point forwards in the entire league, this is how Jason Tatum became the four-leaf clover for the Celtics. It would be a safe bet to say that Boston is a city that's been showered in championships. Their fans always demand the most out of their sports teams, and boy did they get lucky when they landed Jason Tatum right when they needed him. Not only is he consistent on the court and displays an otherworldly amount of skill, Jason is very young at only 25 years old and is only now entering his prime. Tatum could be described as an all-rounder, and even though his official position is as a forward, he frequently will take the ball up the court and make his own shot. He had to put in a lot of work to get where he is though. So no doubt about it, you're going to want to grab some popcorn and stay with us to the end, because we're going over how he got to the NBA, his motivations for becoming a ball player, which star player he grew up with in St. Louis, and how he's already a young phenom with an insane ceiling we haven't even scratched yet. Jason Tatum covers all the bases when it comes to being a superstar. At 6'8", he has just enough length to shoot over defenders, score around the rim, and grab boards. And while his athleticism isn't otherworldly, his level of talent certainly is, because he has a set of tools he works with that is very rare for even the elite tiers of the NBA. Tatum can often shoot off the dribble, being able to make plays for himself if their offensive scheme collapses, and his three-point percentage ranges from above average to almost Steph Curry levels. It's even somewhat surprising he hasn't been on an all-defensive team, because the two-way ability he displays night in and night out often turns an L into a W for the Celtics. Jason's rim protection alone is among the best in the league, and often can compete with Defensive Player of the Year contenders. It's plain obvious why he's so good at just about everything, because he's constantly locked in every game, and it seems he's never content with the performance he puts in on any given night. And it makes a lot of sense. His story about how he got into the NBA is almost pure competitiveness and motivation. A lot of where he gets his penchant for hard work and ambition comes from his mother, Brandy. While she was in college pursuing a degree, she would often take Jason with her, so she never missed any classes. One day, while flipping through the pages of her law textbooks, Tatum told his mom he never wanted to pursue a career with those kinds of books and wanted to play basketball. Jason's mom was supportive and told him he could do anything he wanted to do, but he had to have absolutely no C's in any of his coursework, or his time playing ball was over. Not everyone was cheering him on though, because when Tatum was in school, his teacher told him he should try to have more realistic goals than to be a basketball player. Brandy was furious and told his teacher it was not appropriate to tell her son he couldn't achieve his dream. Afterward, Jason's mom made one thing clear. His dream wasn't just something he could sit around and think about. He had to work hard for it. From that point forward, Jason worked furiously to get to where he needed to be. His high school coach said that he was often practicing on the court before he walked through the door in the morning, and the only day he ever took off was after they won state. When Tatum turned 15 years old, he enrolled in the same school as his role model, another star player in the NBA, Bradley Beal. The two were already really close because Beal lived right down the street and would often give Jason rides home from school. Needless to say, he followed Beal's career very closely as a kid, and when Bradley was awarded Gatorade National Player of the Year, he told Tatum that he only needed to lock in and it would be him on stage getting a trophy in 5 or 6 years. After hearing that, Jason continued to put in as much effort as he could muster, but to his father, Justin Tatum, it wasn't enough. Justin didn't live with him at home, and he even coached his rival high school team, but the two were close and he would never let his son slow down or lose his competitive edge. No matter how well Jason would perform on the court, he would tell him he could do better. Justin even had an interview where he tells the story of how Jason was losing in a game in the 4th grade, and he wasn't too happy about his performance. So he lifted him up by his jersey and told him he was playing soft. It was his father not ever being content with the small successes that kept Tatum on his toes, night in and night out, always trying to play better than the day before. When Tatum was granted entry into Ohio State, his father ripped up the acceptance letter because it didn't come with a full scholarship to the university. Tatum said that his pops wouldn't allow him to accept such small victories and to work even harder to get a full ride. Jason's incredible tenacity and his father's advice came to full fruition when he was granted a scholarship to Duke University, which is no laughing matter because Duke is a highly prestigious basketball juggernaut that has many NBA stars and even superstars that are in the league right now. Names like Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, Seth Curry, and even Kyrie Irving, to name a few. In his year at Duke, Tatum would score 16.8 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game. After showcasing his talent in his freshman year, he was well on his way to having top-tier draft potential, so he opted into the NBA draft in 2017. Jason Tatum's persistence, hard work, and perseverance paid off because he would be drafted third in the first round by the Boston Celtics that same year. But Boston drafted Jason the year after reaching the Eastern Conference Finals, and they just drafted Jaylen Brown, who played the same position. Making matters worse, the Celtics also acquired Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, making the team look very stacked. Tatum mentions himself that he didn't really want to go to Boston because of the circumstances, but that would all change in a blink of an eye. Because in the very first game of his rookie career, Gordon Hayward snapped his ankle only 5 minutes into the game. All of a sudden, a team that was certain to give the Cavs a run for their money in the East was now very vulnerable. Luckily for the Celtics, they drafted the perfect guy to step up to the plate. Tatum would average 13.9 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.6 assists in his rookie year, which was more than good enough for him to be 2017 to 2018 first-team All-Rookie. Unsurprisingly, that was only his floor, because year after year, Jason has been improving on almost all metrics. For the 2022 to 2023 season alone, he is first overall in the league in total points with 2,225. His points per game have skyrocketed to 30.1 points per game on average, and so have his rebounds at almost 9. The most remarkable part of his game might be overlooked, because he went from not even 2 assists per game as a rookie to 4.6 this year. This shows that Tatum is meshing well with the C's and with his on-court duo with Jaylen Brown. The two often combine for mind-boggling stat lines, and they've been one of the strongest front courts in the NBA. When the two sat down to have an exclusive interview with NBC Boston, they said they do compete with each other, but they've had a great relationship both on and off the court. Jaylen even says that Tatum will end up as one of the best players of all time and will end up with multiple Olympic gold medals. With the duo's dominance in recent years, they've been one of the top teams in a very contested Eastern Conference. And it shows, because you can't find a single team in the NBA that wants to play a 7-game series against them in the playoffs. The Boston Celtics have not missed a single postseason appearance with Jason on the court, and they've even reached the finals in the 2021-2022 season. Unfortunately, Curry and the Warriors kept Tatum from bagging his first ring, but with the young superstar entering his prime, there's no doubt they will be back in even better form to score a title. The only question is, when? The most incredible thing about Jason Tatum for the foreseeable future is going to be just how high his ceiling goes. His tenacity and willingness to grow as a part of the core of the Celtics has been nothing but miraculous for the franchise, especially given their growing pains with and after Kyrie, plus the unfortunate injury with Hayward. The Celtics can only hope they continue to be lucky, and Jason stays with the team for the long run when he becomes a free agent in 2026. Until then, they have plenty to work with in the duo he has with Jaylen Brown, and the bag might just be right around the corner.